everyone, my name is Chelsea and welcome back to my channel. For today's video, we are doing a bookish taste test. So this is a trend that I've been seeing all over Instagram, and of course my preferred platform is here, so we're bringing it over here. But basically this is where people show their favorite books and we see if we have things in common. So I'm trying to make this as easy as possible. It took me a while to actually pick out what I wanted to use for this bookish taste test. So I have some new favorites, I have some old favorites, and me being me, I tried to separate them into genre or age group categories just because I thought that made sense. So I actually have 50 books that we're gonna show today. If you have read this book before, you get 10 points total. If it is on your TBR, you get 5 points. I'm not doing anything too crazy with this. I've seen some people like give extra points if it was your favorite, not just if you've read it. I've seen other people like if you hated it or DNF'd it, you actually take points away. We're trying to make this as easy as possible. So I have 50 books here, 10 points if you've read it, 5 points if it's on your TBR. So the most amount of points that you could get if you are like 100% agreeing with me on everything, you've read everything that I have read and loved, you can get up to 500 points. I'm curious to see what are your scores. Let me know down below. Because we have 50 books today, I'm not gonna be saying too much about them, but just know that everything that I'm showing you today, I have given 5 out of 5 stars. Every single thing is a love, a favorite. And so without further ado, we're gonna get started. We're gonna be starting off with fantasy. So these are all gonna be adult fantasy books. Again, I tried my best to get things in the right category. Some of these books could fit multiple genres, like easily. So this is just like my best estimation, but the first one I have here is The Deep by Rivers Solomon. This one follows a race of mermaid-like creatures who are descended from drowned African slaves. Kings of the Wyld by Nicholas Eames. This follows a retired band of mercenaries as they go to rescue one of the daughters of one of the members. Legends and Lattes by Travis Baldree. This is a cozy fantasy about an orc who is retired and wants to start a coffee shop. The entire Lord of the Rings series by J.R.R. Tolkien, a very, very classic fantasy, obviously, that I read back in middle school and have read many, many times before. I just absolutely love it. The Poppy War by R.F. Kuang. This is a military political fantasy, and it starts off in like a school setting. There are elemental powers in some ways, and it gets very, very, very dark. Song of Blood and Stone by L. Penelope. This one does have some romantic elements in it, but it basically has two like warring nations that are separated by a magical mantle, and that mantle is now failing. And finally, Voyage of the Damned by Frances White. This is one of those books that could fit multiple genres. It is 100% fantasy, 100% murder mystery, and it also has some romance in here. It was my favorite book of last year. But basically we have our main character going on this voyage where everyone is supposed to be the next ruler of their country with a power, and he does not have a power. And then like the first night on this voyage, one of those other people is murdered and he has to figure out what is going on. Okay, those are all the fantasy books. The next genre we're moving into is sci-fi. And we're starting off with The Host by Stephanie Meyer. This has a future Earth where aliens have come and have taken over people's bodies. And we follow a girl who is still inside her body with the alien that has taken hold there. The Long Way to a Small Angry Planet by Becky Chambers, a cozy sci-fi with tons of found family, very character focused. I loved it. Qualityland by Mark Uwe Kling. This is a dystopian sort of look into like if Amazon took over this country, but like the world ultimately. Very satirical. Ready Player One by Ernest Cline, an 80s fever dream inside like a virtual reality Easter egg hunt. I loved it. Red Shirts by John Scalzi. This is for the Star Trek lover. It basically has all of those sort of Star Trek tropes, very satirical, very meta as well. And I just love the fact that that was what this was, a take on Star Trek. The Space Between Worlds by Micaiah Johnson, a time travel multiverse sci-fi with a mystery behind it. We also have a sapphic romance. and Winter's Orbit by Everina Maxwell, another one that could fit multiple genres, sci-fi, romance, mystery, but ultimately this is about a person who is betrothed to his cousin's widower and them having to figure out the relationship and the political climate in this universe. Moving into my romance category, although I also have some other more contemporary sort of books thrown in here. For example, the first one I have here is the entire All for the Game series by Nora Sokowicz. So the first book is The Foxhole Court. This is definitely like not a romance. Very, very dark. But it is like new adult sports. I wouldn't necessarily put it in my horror mystery thriller category that's coming up, but this is very much following the characters, and our main character is on the run from like this mafia group. It is very dark. It has lots of trigger warnings. It lives in my head rent-free, and so I had to put it somewhere, and this was the closest place I could. The Earth's Children series by Jean M. Ayul. The first book is The Clan of the Cave Bear. This is a prehistoric fiction about a woman who, as she's in this first book, is actually a girl and grows up with Neanderthals, I guess we want to say it, but she is like one of the first Homo sapiens, but gets taken in by these other people. It is very much a slice of life, but drama filled as well. I personally, again, read it in middle school and absolutely love it. Have read it multiple times. Getting into ones that are like actually romance. We have Prince and Assassin by Tavia Lark. This actually is like a fantasy romance between a prince and an assassin. The assassin is supposed to go and eventually kill him, but develops feelings instead. The Prospects by K.T. Hoffman. This is a baseball sports romance. It is male-male. One of our main characters is also trans, and it is sort of a rivals to lovers. I just absolutely loved it. Role Playing by Kathy Yardley. This is a friends to lovers with like MMORPG type stuff, and it has mistaken identity. It starts off with her thinking that he is like an 18-year-old in college, and him thinking she is 80 years old because she's a friend of his mother's, whereas they are both like in their 40s, and I absolutely love that for them. Strange Love by Anne Aguirre. This is a sci-fi romance that is a mix between The Bachelor and The Hunger Games. Yes, we do have like a dating show fight to the death thing. I absolutely love this one. And then the last one we have for this category is Take a Hint, Dani Brown by Talia Hibbert. This is a friends to lovers fake dating situation, which is some of my favorite things. And I just absolutely love these characters. He is like the ultimate book boyfriend. The next category that we're going into is my horror mystery thriller books. Again, some of these could fit into some other genres, but we're going with that horror mystery thriller vibe. So the first one we have here is Battle Royale by Koshin Takami. This, people say, is like the precursor to the Hunger Games, where these high school students get put on this island, and in order to get off, they have to fight to the death. I would say that this is more in that sort of like dark thriller vibes, although I do think it also could be put into sci-fi. The Blackstone Chronicles by John Saul. This originally was in a serial format where you had individual tiny little books that came out every month or two. So this is like a 6-part series where people in this town are receiving presents from an anonymous source, and if you receive one of these presents, you're basically going to die in a very mysterious way. I've read this a few different times. I absolutely love it. Dead Silence by S.A. Barnes. This could also be sci-fi, obviously. It is a sci-fi horror, and it's basically like a ghost ship meets the Titanic, like the actual Titanic, and I love the vibe of this one so much. Home Before Dark by Riley Sager. This is still my favorite Riley Sager. I love the whole is it paranormal or not paranormal elements, as this woman is trying to figure out if the home she grew up in when she was a kid is actually haunted. It by Stephen King. I do think this is still my favorite Stephen King, even though I know it has some issues with it. I first read it in middle school and have read it many times since. It is one of the scariest books I have ever read. I mean, sewer clown that murders children. Yeah. Monstrosity by Laura Diaz de Arce. This is a short story collection that does run the gamut of different genres. We do have some sci-fi and things like that as well, but I absolutely love the nature of all of these stories. A lot of them do fit into the more disturbing, unsettling vibe of horror, and I absolutely love all the short stories this author has done. I need to read more. And then finally, for this category, I have Night of the Living Trekkies by Sam Stahl and Kevin David Anderson. This is literally like Night of the Living Dead at a Star Trek convention. Like, it doesn't pull its punches. I really love this one. Okay, and then because I've been reading a lot of adult books recently, like the majority of my reading is the adult genre, that's why all of those books from those categories were adult. Now we're gonna go into my young adult books. The first one I have here is The Hunger Games by Suzanne Collins, a very classic dystopian YA. I've read it multiple times. I can't say more than that. Like, I just absolutely love this series, and I'm sure a lot of you guys do as well. The Illuminae Files by Amy Kaufman and Jay Kristoff. I love the entire series, but this is a YA sci-fi thriller type of thing with a lot of mixed media elements. Like, I just absolutely love the format of this. It was so unique when it came out. Iron Widow by Shiran J. Zhao. I know the author has said that, like, this is not 100% YA. The second book is definitely for an older audience. I haven't read that one yet. But this is a sci-fi where our main characters go in these mecha machines and fight aliens, like huge alien monster things. It is very dark, but I absolutely love everything about it. The last 100 pages were like breakneck speed. I need to continue. Little Thieves by Margaret Owen. This is a slow moving sort of story, but I still absolutely loved it, where we have a girl who's very morally gray, who steals from a lot of people, has actually stolen the princess spot from the princess, and is gonna be cursed for it. The entire Shadowhunters world by Cassandra Clare. This is one of those things that I fell in love with when the first book came out. I have multiple copies of almost every single thing in this series. It is 100% like the perfect urban fantasy, paranormal fantasy type of stuff that I just absolutely love. I love the characters, I love the world. It's one of my favorites. The Song of the Sparrow by Lisa Ann Sandell. This is a story told in verse that follows Elaine, I think the Lady of Shalott from like Arthurian legend. So this is dealing with King Arthur and her. And this is the book that, like, if I am in a reading slump, if I need something to get me out of it, this is the one I pick up. I have read it over 10 times. And then the last one we have for this category is Threads That Bind by Kika Hatzopoulou. This is like an urban fantasy with the Greek fates as our main characters. And it's also like a murder mystery sort of thing, because one of our characters can see the life threads of people and they're being cut prematurely, and then bad things are happening because of that. This is a duology which I have not yet finished, but I absolutely love this one. Now, I couldn't just stop at young adult because I also love middle grade, so I have some middle grade here as well. The first one I have here is Amari and the Night Brothers by B.B. Alston. This is like Men in Black for fantasy. It's a world very close to our own, but we can't see it as normal people. And then Amari goes into this because her brother is missing and discovers this whole magical world. The next one I have here is a classic, Anne of Green Gables by L.M. Montgomery. Another one that I read way back in the day, I think elementary school even, and I absolutely love it. We follow Anne, who is an orphan who is taken in by the Cuthberts, and how she navigates school and things like that, life. I love it. Artemis Fowl by Owen Colfer. The start of morally gray characters for me. Basically, he is an 11-year-old evil genius who has decided to steal from the fairies in order to get like gold and help his family. The Cassidy Blake series by V.E. Schwab. The first book is City of Ghosts. This is like a horror, paranormal horror middle grade. And let me tell you, they don't necessarily pull any punches for this. I absolutely loved the elements of this, of Cassidy Blake with her parents being ghost hunters and her best friend being a ghost and going to these cities where there are actual bad ghosts around. Del Toro Quest by Emily Rhoda. This is the giant bind-up edition, and this is another series that I started reading way back in the day and have just absolutely loved. We follow our main character, Leaf, who has been tasked with getting all of the gems of Del Toro in order to banish this like evil shadow guy. I love it. Keeper of the Lost Cities by Shannon Messenger. This follows our main character of Sophie, who up until the first book, when she's like 11, thought she was human, realizes she's actually not. She is an elf. And so she has to now go into this world and learn about powers and magical things. There's conspiracies and other things happening. Each book gets more and more in depth. I love them. And then the last one for middle grade I have here is the Wilderlore series by Amanda Foody. The first book is The Accidental Apprentice. In this one, we follow Barkley, who is part of the village that is afraid of lore keepers. They are told never to go into the woods, you don't want magic, all this kind of stuff, and he ends up accidentally bonding to this like mystical wolf thing and having to be a lore keeper and learn about the world. I just absolutely love this series. And then we're moving into the last category that I have, which is manga and comics. So because this is the last category and we're combining both manga and comics, there are 8 books for this one, whereas everything else had 7, so we will hit 50 books. The first one I have here is Ghost Hunt by Shiho Inada and Fuyumi Ono. This is a manga that is out of print now, I'm sorry to say, but I absolutely love it. It is paranormal ghost hunting with these 2 main characters here. He is like a teenage business owner of this ghost hunt business, and she is a high school student that gets wrapped up in it and is trying to like figure out stuff as she goes. I absolutely love this one. I Hear the Sunspot by Yuki Fumino. We have 2 guys here. One is hard of hearing and the other one takes notes for him in his college classes in exchange for boxed lunches, and we eventually develop romance and friendship and figuring out how to do things in the workforce. I absolutely love the characters and the disability representation. Let's Play by Leanne Kressick. This is something that started on Webtoon, and that's where I first discovered it. Basically, we have our main character who wants to be a video game developer, has created a video game and has put it out into the world, and a different person is a video game reviewer and basically did not know how to play her game and gave it the worst review ever, and then they end up being neighbors. Yeah. Ouran High School Host Club by Bisco Hattori. This is the thing that started it all. This is the one that got me into manga. I did start with the anime. It was like my first anime ever. Fell in love with it, read the entire series, and have not looked back. This is about a girl who ends up sort of dressing androgynous at school, and people assume she is a guy, and because she breaks a vase, has to then work as a guy in the host club. Plume by Kaylin Smith. I could have picked any of Kaylin Smith's work for this, but this is a fantasy western, like it's very much western, but our main character has this pendant who has a spirit in there who helps protect her, and I just absolutely love the vibes of this so much. Saga by Brian K. Vaughan. This I know I've talked about so many times on my channel. A lot of people on BookTube love this. It is fantasy, it is sci-fi, it is Romeo and Juliet in space. We have these 2 warring factions, one's with horns, one with wings, and these 2 characters come together. They fell in love even though they should be on different sides, and had a baby, but now people are after them. Shiver by Junji Ito. This is one of my favorite short story collections by him. I have a few other ones as well, but like this is the one that I come back to as my favorite most often, I feel like. It is very horror, body horror, grotesque, creepy stuff. I love it. And then the last one for the entire video that I have here is Sweat and Soap by Kintetsu Yamada. This is like ultimate romance in a manga. I absolutely love the fact that these characters come together in a weird way, I will admit. Basically, she has a sweat problem and he likes the way she smells. Yes, I know exactly how it sounds, but it is a very wholesome romance. Like, it is like one of the best couples that I have seen in a book, and I love that we get from like them starting to date through like their entire relationship in the last volume. Like, I just absolutely love the progression. I love how adult they are, and I just love them as a couple. And that is it. Those are all 50 books that I picked for this taste test here. I will say, and I don't know if I said it earlier because it feels like it's been forever since the beginning of this video, it took me a while to narrow down my favorites to these 50 books. I could have picked so many things, but I'm glad that I made categories for these so you guys can see all the different things that I read instead of me just picking maybe like a ton of fantasy because I love fantasy, you know what I mean? So let me know down below, what score did you get out of a possibility of 500 points? Again, it was 10 for every book that you have read, 5 for every book that is also on your TBR, and I'm just curious, how similar are we in taste? I loved seeing this over on Instagram, so I hope you guys loved seeing it over here. And that is going to be it from me today. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up to let me know. Subscribe to this channel if you'd like to see more videos. I do have videos coming out Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays, so I will see you then. Bye!